Well, welcome to another webinar. It feels like forever since I've done one of these, even though it's been a week. Good evening or good morning, wherever you are. First of all, just give me a yes in the chat if you will, if you can hear me and you can see the Forex Factory calendar. Good morning, Sarah. I've just had a notification to say there could be some buffering issues from YouTube. That's really unusual. I usually don't see that sign, but just let me know if you can see the screen and hear me okay. Very unusual. It must be the time of the day. Yes. Well, I'll give it just a minute or two for a few more people to roll in. How has everybody's week gone? Any trades? Did anybody get up to much while I was gone? I had virtually no internet while I was away. I did plan on doing some quick hit review videos in the mornings. The internet simply just was not good enough, so I barely looked at the charts. I went out most days without my mobile phone. I was technology free for the week, and that's always nice. It's always nice to get away from the charts, get away from emails, text messages, all those things. So my week was very nice. Sarah says she went to the beach for a week. No trades for me. Nice break. Excellent stuff. I was at the beach near enough every day. I did a cruise. It was only around the Mediterranean. Incredibly hot, about 38 degrees around there. Went swimming in the Med every day, went on the beach every day, went shopping every day. Ate far too much food every single day. Thank God I did lots of exercise and lots of walking, because I would have come back weighing easily an extra stone, more than I do now. So thank God for the onboard gym as well. So glad everybody had a good week. Vingo says only study and back testing for me. Okay, getting in the reps. Excellent stuff. I had a quick look through the charts. I had a quick look this morning. It doesn't look as though there was a great deal during that week I wasn't here. One of the days was a bank holiday in the UK. And then there was again news out regarding Brexit, and we'll run through the charts momentarily, but from looking at them it was just sideways movement, and I don't have anything on the radar now either. It has been a bank holiday in America today, so I wasn't expecting a great deal of movement. I was going to do this YouTube live in the morning, but when I looked at the charts and saw it was a bank holiday, I thought, well, we'll do it in the evening because there may be something. but there really isn't. Hurricane also, of course, the hurricane. I've had no phone, Sarah. When I came back late Saturday, I went to bed. Then Sunday, the usual stuff, it was unpacking. I had family here. I had my sister, her husband and children that were here. They minded the house for a week, so I took them to the airport yesterday. And then really, just unpacking and kind of getting things straight. So I really just about caught up on emails. I haven't seen any news. I've just been my hot tub broke. It's one of those blow up hot tubs. I've had it for about 18 months now, and because it's so hot here, some of it's in the sunlight, and I think it was pumped up a little bit too much, and with the heat that we've been having, it's just expanded and it's created a hole in it somewhere. I don't know where it is, and my hot tub is now deflated, so come back to a broken hot tub. But luckily that's all that's gone wrong. Can easily replace it. I'll get a new one. So what we'll do is we'll run through the charts. The charts that I have open are the ones that we went through on the last webinar. So it still has some workings out there, so we'll run through a couple of things that we were looking at there, and then we'll do a complete top-down analysis from the dailies all the way down to the lower time frame, and really look at what we've got projected for the next week or so. I do have the Forex Factory calendar open though, and as mentioned today there was a bank holiday. It was for the CAD as well, so very little movement today because of the bank holidays. Tomorrow we have, first of all, at 2:30 in the morning my time, that's UK time, at 2:30 we have Aussie news out now. Do expect some movement there. When we get Aussie news that time of the evening, we tend to have the market very thin. We tend to see the Aussie move quite a lot, and particularly as well since it's been bank holiday for the dollar and the CAD, there would have been very few people trading, and it would have made the markets even thinner. So I would be very cautious about holding any trades unless they are bigger trades, maybe the 240, the daily. Certainly something with a bigger range there between your entry and stop loss, so you don't get stopped out. There is also a little bit more news out at 5:30 in the morning, and then throughout the day, what we've got a little bit of dollar news at 3, manufacturing PMI, not a great deal. FOMC members talking at 10 o'clock. Nothing really that I would pay attention to tomorrow. Sarah says both sets of parents are possibly in the path of evac zones, so I've been watching closely. Right. Again, I haven't seen any news. I'm not up to date with that. I know there's a hurricane, but that's as much as I know, to be honest. I'm even out of it with what's going on with Boris and what's going on with Brexit. I've literally just not really paid attention to a great deal while I've been away. So we will get rid of the Forex Factory calendar, and we will start off with the Aussie dollar CAD. And I can't remember it, but it looks as though there was 2 advanced patterns we were talking about. The first one was just here. The second one was lower down. When I have 2 advanced patterns like this, my rules personally are that I will take the lower pattern. And I only do that when they're both either Gartleys or bats. So for instance, if this first pattern was a cipher, I would have taken the cipher pattern, but since they're not, since they're both, since one's a Gartley and one's a bat, I take the lower pattern. Now, if you did take this, well done. I assume you won and we're not stopped out. Well, you may have been, depending where your stop loss was. Now, just as a quick recap for those of you that have got a shorter memory than me, just let me stop that alarm. You should know by now that I don't trade these patterns anymore unless I have another reason for entering, like a rotation pattern. Now, typically I have my stop at the 113, even a little bit lower. If you had your stop at the 113 here, it's very likely you were stopped out. And we had a gap here, so this was either last week. It looks as though this was last week, maybe Friday. If not, it was news that came out. You saw a gap, then you saw a big spike lower and a pullback. So congratulations if you won, commiserations if you lost on that trade. It was just stopped out. Let's delete it though. Let's go and look at the higher time frame here. So what we're going to see over a lot of these currency pairs is this. Okay guys, a lot of sideways movements since we came down to retest this lower level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 2 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 weeks of sideways movement, guys. Okay, it's made any trend trades very difficult. We are also at something like, I think, 10 or 11 year lows here on the Aussie dollar CAD, and we can see price struggling at this area. And I'll tell you right now, as a result of this, I'm not interested in short trades and I'm not interested in long trades. I want to see a new low made, or I want to see us break to the upside. Now, if we actually just break this down though from the daily time frame, we can see we've got a very nice swing in the market here, and we've got quite a directional move. And then it looks as though we've got a lovely double bottom just here. We did have the RSI confirmation with divergence, and it is not a double bottom for me for quite a few reasons. Evening, Stuart. Welcome to the first webinar in what seems like a lifetime. Here, what we did is we had this double bottom with divergence. This was the area where I would expect price to come to as a minimum, which is the outside return as an absolute minimum here, and we failed to come up to that level. But what we did is we've actually failed to make a new high above the V point, the V top. So we've got the first test here, the second test here. This is the high, and we know that to have potential rotation we would need a break above, close above this level, and then you can look for a 26.18. Well, this concerns me, this double bottom, because we didn't get the confirmed break above, close above this level. In fact, we came up to the top of this level, we held it, and we've come back down to retest the lows. So you have a triple, you have 4 tests at the lows here now. So for me, when we get a double bottom, we typically, when we start to see the move higher, we typically get the move higher. And when we fail to violate the tops, then that's a sign to me that there's more selling pressure than expected. And in actual fact, we could violate to the downside. So you know that I like to form a bias on pretty much all time frames and currency pairs. And even though we have this double bottom, which is an indication we could go higher, for me it's looking like we could break to the downside. Excuse me. What else do we have? Do we have any psychological numbers down at this level? You know, I'm very keen on numbers that end in 100, so we do not have that. We do not have the RSI oversold on this time frame on this test just down here, and we do not have a higher close for the last candle. So there's not a great deal here for me. It is just consolidation. There's no advanced pattern. Nothing. If you do have anything on this, guys, please let me know. Chuck it in the chat. Other than that, we will go take a look at the 240. Stuart says, it does feel like forever since we have a webinar. Good to have you back, Chris. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice to be wanted and missed. 240 time frame, not a great deal. This is just junk. This is just stuff I am not interested in. We're just waiting for a breakout of this consolidation. There's no breakout pattern for me here. There's no flag, there's no channel, there's absolutely nothing, to be honest with you. Nothing at all. I don't like to try and make something. We've got a channel that has kind of been adhered to. Within that channel, I do like to draw it on the closes of the candles, and this is how it would be. So the close of the candle would be this one for me, and it would be here. As we drop down the time frames, we may see a double top up at that level. Is it going to be valid? Let's have a look. Yes, right here. So we have, you know, I'm very fond of channel trading. I haven't really had any decent channels in the past month or two, but we have a retest up here. Did we have the RSI confirmation? No, we didn't. But what have we just done now, guys? If this was the double top up here, coming into our trend line structure, and we know that typically when we see a channel or a trend line, we tend to see rotation patterns. So there was one. This one actually broke to the downside, pulled back for a 26.18. Here was another. It's only been a week, but I'm forgetting my hotkeys. There we go. There was another double top, and right here where we're looking at now is another double top, even though it didn't have the RSI confirmation. This was the low here, this was the wick low, and we needed a confirmed break below, close below, as Vinco stated. And you can then look for a 26.18. Now, very importantly, this right here, this was not a confirmed break below, close below. So even though we had this wick up here for what looks to be a third test, it was not a valid 26.18. It's only valid when we violate this level, and that's exactly what we've done. So those of you that trade trend lines and 26.18s, well, you have a confirmed double top. Even though there was no RSI confirmation, it has now been confirmed, and you could now look for a move to the downside. Well, where would targets be, guys? Would targets be, let's do this, let's put it here at the close of this candle, at the wick, and at this level. So would it be 1? Would it be this lower level down here, 2? Or would it be this very lower level down here, 3, which is the wick? So 1, 2 or 3, guys. Tell me which one you would prefer to go for if you were playing for a short here. Which would be the safest option? Level 1, which comes in at our highest structure point, which is the close of the candles. Level 2, which is the close of the candles of this lower point. Level 3, which is the very, very lows and getting the maximum pips out of our trade. Just let me know, guys, 1, 2 or 3, which one would you pick? Lucky number 1, lucky number 2, or sometimes unlucky number 3. Which one would you go for? Those of you that know me know that I like to play for the closes of the candles. This for me has the highest probability because you're actually playing then from structure to structure instead of playing for the wicks, which is the extension in my opinion. And this lower level down here, this number 3, is the maximum extension that I would play for, and I would only play for that if I was in a very heavy trend. Heavy trend, long extensions, small pullbacks. And when we're in consolidation like this, I want to be a little bit more conservative, and I would play for number 1. So if this is a trade for you, you're entering at the 618. Stops go an ATR above the first test, which is going to give you about 10 pips, which is up at this level. And targets are going to be down at this level. In this instance, we'll just make that one green. And you'd be looking at something like 21 pips of risk for a reward of 42, if you're a 2618 trader, of course. Other than that, guys, it's a load of junk in my opinion. Let's go and look at the 15. The 15. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not at the moment. You may end up with a back pattern tomorrow. Something like this. Who knows? We'll have to wait until tomorrow. Other than that, we've got a 2618. We'll leave that open for tomorrow or the next day, and we'll see what happens. See if that trade actually plays out. Any questions on the Aussie dollar CAD? Just as a reminder for those of you that have just joined, there is Aussie news out, guys, this evening. I think it was 2:30 my time, GMT time, and about 5:30 as well. So we will bring over the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar. We have a beautiful swing of the market up here, coming down to, what's this, guys? This entire area here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is the 21st day. This is 21 days of doing what on the daily time frame? Are we trending? Are we channeling? Are we in consolidation? What are we doing, guys? We just look at the last 3 weeks. What is this type of movement? Let me know. Consolidation, exactly. So with consolidation, we can look for a few things. Of course, you can look for those advanced patterns, things like this that you get there, or cipher patterns. Or you can look for the breakout. Now, we're going to run through why I think we're going to break out to the downside rather than the upside. So first of all, let's get a little bit of perspective. Let's zoom out. I've got 3 years loaded here, and you can see we're at 3-year lows. I think that we're at something like 6 or 7 year lows if I was to load more data. This gigantic wick down here, for me, we do not have a confirmed break below, close below of that level, and we have technically held structure until we violate this lower level just here, this lowest wick. Now, in my opinion, if we're falling like this and we're obviously failing to go higher, even though we're holding structure, we're actually closing within the wicks and we're making lower lows here. So I'm looking at this as though that we are actually going to break to the downside. Now, like I said, as per the Aussie dollar CAD, when we get a double bottom, we typically tend to see the reaction straight away. We don't tend to hug to go higher and to come back down and hug and then come lower and then rally. We tend to, as we're falling like this, it's more of an indication that we're coming lower and we're going to continue going lower. Of course, again, no confirmation of that. RSI, you went massively oversold here with divergence, and there is a psychological number down here at 6,700, which is right at this level. So I do think we're going to break to the upside, but again, no confirmation of it. What have we been doing? Bigger picture, we have been making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So I do think we're going to continue that move lower here on the 240. Now, what you can do here on the 240 is, keep forgetting my shortcuts, it's only been a week, shouldn't be forgetting those. You could, at a pinch, make the case for 1, 2, 3. There was your fourth touch. May not actually be valid. No, actually fell a little bit short. So you may not then have a triangle here. So you would be waiting for a fourth touch into this level and then a shorting opportunity. Let's go and take a look at the 60. Vinco as well, consolidation, yep. Here on the 60. Oh, it's just very ugly, guys, isn't it? You had this move higher, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, move lower, pullback. You can see, look, left we held structure, a move lower, a pullback, and we are now starting to move lower. So everything indicating at this stage that we are simply moving lower. Let's go and take a look at the 15. Oh, good grief, it's just ugly. I hate things like this. Nothing, guys. Nothing really to go over or to talk about here, other than the fact that we are moving lower. Any questions on that one? We'll move it off to the side. Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie is an interesting one. The head and shoulders. The head and shoulders. We were looking at this for a long period of time, weren't we, guys? Okay, just clear this up a little bit. So, head and shoulders has not as yet come down to retest this lower level. And I don't think we actually completed our ABCD pattern. Just let me redraw this out. Nope. We haven't as yet come down to our AB equals CD pattern, but while I was away, I did manage to sneak a peek at this, and news came out. I can't remember if it was Brexit. I assume it was Brexit. We saw a big rally, a big spike, and then the market just decided to come back down and continue its path lower. So we had a very good looking head and shoulders here. It even produced this low and tight flag just here, but again, this was another one where news came out and it went the opposite way, but now it's continuing its path to the downside. So if you were in this, depending where you got your entry, I don't know if your stop was up here. If it was up here, well, you were still spiked out of this thing. And I think this just goes to show, like we've seen over the last few months, we've just been seeing a lot of big movements, a lot of big spikes. Even though this just wasn't a single spike, this happened over the course of a couple of days, a day or so. We saw the big rally, the market didn't want to go any higher, and we've just made our way lower. Let's go and look at the 60. Here on the 60, you had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower. You've seen a pullback, and then it came lower. So there's no trend here for me that I'm interested in, even though I do think price can come lower based on the bigger head and shoulders. I'm going to take a look at the 15. But I think a lot of these charts are just dead because of the bank holiday in America. Here on the 15, nothing. We'll take a quick look at the 5. Did I tell you guys just before I went on holiday what I did to my toe? I think I did. I had family over here and running on the beach, and the beach is clear. It's lovely golden sands, and a kid must have moved a gigantic stone and wasn't looking where I was going. I ran and I kicked it with the side of my big toe, and luckily I didn't kick it full on. It was on the side, so my nail's gone black and blue, but it doesn't look as though I'm gonna lose it. And because I hit it side on, it didn't break, but it's all bruised. And a year ago, my 2 baby toes, I kicked underneath a chair, and I didn't break them, but it pulled all the tendons, and I couldn't walk for about 6 weeks or so. And so I was really cautious with my big toe while I was away. And on the night that we were leaving, it was about 7 in the evening. I was in the sea and I was pushing my daughter with the waves, and the sand was soft, and I ended up pushing my big toe a bit too far. And again, I've been really cautious all week, so I've had no problem with my foot at all, and I bent it too far, and then I got shooting pain through my 2 smaller toes, and now I'm on crutches. I can't believe it. So it's pulled the tendons again in my leg, and I could be on them for a couple more weeks. Disaster. Luckily though, it was only the last evening of the holiday and it didn't really affect it too much, but bit of a disaster. So, but hey, if that's the worst thing that happens, I can live with that. So on the 5, nothing guys, absolutely nothing. I'm afraid there's just nothing here for me. Let me just go back to the dailies. So on the daily time frame, we had the move higher, we had this double top up here. This was not a 2618 because we did not have a confirm. Oh, ignore that. Yeah, right here we had a confirmed break below, close below. I move higher, 2618, and right here this candle yesterday was a confirmed break below, close below on the dailies. And looking at the 240, you now have obviously a confirmed break below, close below there as well. But nothing else here, guys. This looks like a double bottom. It may even have, yes it does, it has the RSI confirmation, but we did not hold structure. This level right here was the lowest structure level, and we violated to the downside, guys. So no double bottom for me. If anything, I'm simply looking at the market coming lower. Anything on the Euro Aussie, guys? Do you guys have anything? So let me know if you do. Just as a reminder, YouTube has said that there is a little bit of a delay for some reason, bigger than usual. So there might be a 20-30 second delay, something like that. But Euro Aussie, guys, I'm going to move that one out of the way as well. Brings us on to the Euro Yen. Euro Yen. Okay, last time we looked at this. Okay, that's weird. Okay, this Euro Yen says that we hit the 127. My other charts tell me we did not. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. Let's just run through what we looked at last time. We looked at this channel, didn't we, guys? We saw that we had a channel here which could be wedging, and we could see a breakout one way or the other, and we broke out to the downside. This was not a triangle for me. I would have needed a big pole like this, and I would have needed structure to be violated, but you can see that trade came off to the downside. Let's go and take a look at the dailies, and I'm going to figure out why this chart is different to my other charts. So bigger picture, today we saw a bit of a gap today when the markets opened, and we are trading now lower than this structure level and Friday's candle basically. And as we look left, you can see this is the lower level of structure, and I would expect price to come all the way down to that level. So let's go and take a look at the 240. Take a look at the 240. And again, guys, if you do have anything on the euro yen, please let me know. I really don't have a great deal on the charts. Tomorrow when we do the webinar, I may even do the webinar in the evening again, because we're doing the review now and there's nothing really setting up unless there's a lot of movement. I think tomorrow we're not going to see too much until the afternoon or the evening. So do we have an advanced pattern here? Looks like you have a Gartley, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion was around this level. It's now invalid because we violated the X leg, which is just here. So nothing for me on that time frame. Let's take a look at the 60. And we've actually had quite a few people join over the past week as well, so I don't think we've got very many people in YouTube live now, but this will be sent out to everybody. And hello to those people that have just joined within the week. And if you're wondering why it's maybe been a little bit quiet within the chat, well, it's because I've been on holiday. So we will be back to some sort of normality this week. So on the 240, we could be seeing a low and tight flag here, or even a, could we see it? Yeah, we could even see a triangle here. So 1, 2, 3. You would be waiting for a fourth test up in this level. Just go and drop down to the 15. It is not very pretty. No, it's not valid here in the 15. So maybe for tomorrow, you can see that we obviously do have the confirmed break below, close below. We've got a fairly directional move. I think this would be more along the lines of a low and tight flag. Not the prettiest, so I'd have to wait for some sort of rotation pattern up in this level just here. Or what you could do is just wait for a confirmed break below, close below, and a pullback, and look for a shorting opportunity. Okay guys, I'm going to move that one out the way as well. We're rolling through these quite quick, considering we've not been through them for a week. I thought they may have taken a little bit longer than this, but they haven't. Euro New Zealand, guys. Again, if you have anything on this, please let me know. If you trade the dailies, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion up here for a Gartley pattern. With that Gartley pattern, it looks as though you're going to have an AB equals CD pattern completing at the 786. We've actually come up to this level twice now from the look of it, and on the first test we did go overbought with divergence. Wouldn't be a valid double top for me. I need my double tops to be at the top of structure up here. So Stuart says feels like 4 weeks. Certainly does. 240, this pair just hasn't moved in weeks. I remember when we had news out 3 weeks ago, and we were looking at a potential flag pattern here, if you remember this, guys. And I said I doubt that it's going to be one for me, but we'll wait and see what happens. And that was 3 weeks ago, and look at what we've just done. We've just slowly been dribbling higher. It's been awful, painstaking in fact. Down here on the 60 you do have another advanced pattern. Let's have a look. We have a back pattern this time. X to A to B, B to C, CD completion. If that's valid for you, you have a bat there. Euro New Zealand was one of only 2 pairs I found advanced patterns not to be profitable. Also looks as though you've got a double bottom down here. Double bottom, RSI confirmation with divergence. Oh, look at that. Did it come into the wicks? Well, it came into the wicks of this level just here, not of the lower X leg. So wouldn't be valid for me, but if it is for you, you've got a pattern and a potential double bottom there. No bigger projection though here, guys, just sideways movement. Just nothing for me on the Euro New Zealand. Euro dollar. Euro dollar, we got the move that we expected. There was pretty sure this was the area that we said we could get the move lower. News came out. Look at the rallies we have here. We had 1-2 candles that pretty much made up the full move, made up a 100 pip move, and then came to the downside. I'm pretty sure I was in that trade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was short this. I think I was short up here. We'd had the confirmed break below, close below. News came up, violated the outside return, and of course we then continued on our path lower. So let's go and take a look at the higher time frame. So the good news here on the euro dollar is we did yesterday have a break below, close below. Yesterday? Friday, I mean. We had a confirmed break below, close below, and we violated our lower level of structure, which was this level. So move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, and now we've just had a move lower. You can then look for a pullback. The entire outside return is here. However, I would narrow the kill zone down to this level, and in particular the wicks just here. Look for some sort of pullback. What else do we have on this time frame? Well, there could be an ABCD pattern just here. Maybe. Yep, just there. And that would mean that the pullback, if that ABCD pattern came off, would come into a 382 as a minimum from our swing high to swing low. So there is the 382. So we can reduce our kill zone to from the close of the candles to the 382 and look for a rotation pattern within this zone and look for a continuation to the downside. So head and shoulders or a double top within this zone will mean you have a very small amount of risk, probably not even that much actually, something like this, and a very large amount of reward to the downside. Waiting for a pullback there on the euro dollar. Down on the 240, what do we have? Oh, good grief, not a lot guys. Okay, RSI first of all is massively oversold at, okay, we were at 5, we are now at 16. We have no psychological number here. Okay, just let me go out to the daily time frame, guys, and look left. For this AB equals CD pattern, I'm just looking to see if there would be a valid structure level that I can take a double bottom at. And there is an internal structure level just here, if you see it, guys. Nothing major. We do have another level just there. You would be allowed to drop one time frame lower and look for a double bottom. Now you do have a retest here, don't we? 1, 2, and as mentioned, we do have the RSI that went overbought, but there's no divergence, so wouldn't be a valid double bottom for me, so would not be a valid long opportunity using the double bottom and the AB equals CD pattern. So let's take a look at the 60. This is not valid here on the 60 either. The reason for that is if this was the double bottom, came down to this level, pull back, came down, well, we violated structure to the left, so no valid double bottom for me. So pretty much just looking for short opportunities on the euro dollar. No counter trend trades, no breakout patterns, no advanced patterns. Anybody have anything on the euro dollar, guys? Damn it, my toes killing. Wanted to go for a run this evening as well. That's not going to happen. Nothing on the euro dollar, guys. Move that out of the way. I was really hoping that we'd see some decent trading when I came back, and it's pretty damn dead. So congratulations to those of you that held this up to this upper structure level. Remember, we spoke about this being a potential breakout. I got 50 pips out of this trade, not last week, the week before, got involved, and I think it was a double bottom down here. But I only took targets at the highs, and I did say that we could see a retest of this upper level, and that's exactly what had happened. A lovely 312 pip move. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Don't you wish I held it? Absolutely I do, considering I'm still in a ridiculous drawdown. But I didn't, but we got the move that was expected. What happened then? Well, the bulk of this was news. We had a move higher, a pullback, and then I think it was more news that made it run higher, and then we saw a pullback and a move higher, and it was just horrible. Just horrible. Let's take a look at the dailies. So, is there any form of trend here on the pound Aussie? We had the move lower, the pullback, the move lower, the pullback. So I'm going to put a structure level in there. Then we had a move lower. And since this level here, we've held it. Since the structure level, we've put in this big wick. We have failed to violate this big wick. So nothing but consolidation. We are simply just moving up and down within this level. So absolutely nothing that I'm interested in. The 240. Nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. If you was looking at this being a head and shoulders, so that was the left shoulder, this was the head, that was the right shoulder. Well, it wasn't valid for me because this was the structure level that we needed to hold structure, and we didn't. We violated to the upside. What else have we got here? Any trend lines? You can see that we've just violated that trend line. Just going to take a look at the 60. That's quite good to see. We can probably see this better on the 15, but I'll draw it out for now. So we had the move lower, the pullback to the trend line, and then another break below, close below, and then a pullback. So if you're aggressive and you're only using, say, the 60-minute as your trend continuation, well, you're going to have this. You're going to have a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, and then you're looking for shorts anywhere within the outside return. So quite simply, a lower low, lower close within the candle bodies, or of course a last chance entry. You're looking for a rotation pattern. Just go and check out the 5. Minute. Nothing for me, guys. Nothing for me. You could have a cipher pattern, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion up at the 786. Right at 18057. That would be a trade for tomorrow. And again, there is Aussie news out this evening. Let's move that out of the way, guys. Let's move it out of the way. What have we got in the pound yen? Okay. So on the pound yen, from our last workings out, I think I'm going to have to drop down to the 15. What did we look at last time? Okay, not a lot. We looked at, looks like it was a Gartley pattern that won, and a potential retest which came off. So not too much there. Let's take it from the top. Let's take it from the dailies. If you have anything on this one, please let me know, guys. Just wish there was something better than nothing. And again, consolidation, like all the currency pairs, just sideways movement. I have absolutely no interest in anything on the pound yen. Here on the 240, we saw, Good grief. Okay, a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, a pullback down to this level, then we count down to this level again, and now we're down in this level again. Nothing but consolidation, uncertainty, waiting for new highs and waiting for new lows. Here on the 60, good grief. These charts are terrible, absolutely ugly. On the 15, nothing, guys. Nothing. Take a look at the 5. On the 5, just nothing. Absolutely nothing, guys. Good grief, that was quick. Sorry guys, nothing on the pound yen. It's just get rid of that junk. It's just rubbish. Pound dollar. Pound dollar looked as though we looked for a long opportunity down in this level, and you can see that it actually came off for a retest of this higher level. I don't know what else we were looking at. Let's drop to the 15. This was a good while ago. Oh, a double bottom. Okay, you had a retest down there. You can see it's already drawn out and you had to move higher. So that came off. Let's go and take a look at the dailies then, get some perspective on what is happening here. This is the very low on my chart, and as you can see, we have not as yet quite come down to retest the lows, and all we've done is come lower, a small pullback, come lower, then we saw a pullback to this level, and we are now coming lower. So I would still expect this lower trend line to be hit, but based on the dailies, I've just got nothing that I'm interested in. On the dailies, sorry, on the 240, a lot like the pound yen. Just look at this slowly, not even a new high there, no new high there, no new high, and then we just broke to the downside. 60. Sorry for skipping over this so quick, guys, but I just don't see the point in wasting time on nothing. Look at that. There's no trend, there's no channel, there's no breakout pattern, there's no advanced pattern, there's no trend line. There's absolutely nothing. We just want to stay out these markets, guys. Stay out until we see some decent movement, until we have some news that comes out, until we see some violations of structure. Here on the 5, it's just nothing. Nothing, guys. I'm going to move on to the next one. New Zealand yen. Okay. New Zealand yen, there was this triangle which we spoke about just before I went away. Unfortunately, what happened here is over the weekend, the market gapped. We saw a big rally down and then it got sucked all the way back. Now, we failed though to hit targets. You can see right here that 127 was not hit. And it looks as though I drew out a risk of 21 pips for 193. Targets as yet have not been hit. Let's just go and take a look at the 60. What do we use as the entry? Okay, let's go down to the 15. Looks as though it's probably a structure hold. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 holds at that level. So a very small amount of risk and a very large amount of reward. It's not come off yet, but it looks as though we are going to go lower to hit those potential targets. Let's go and take a look at the dailies. Sure, it says they took my bank balance. Because of the delay, I'm not too sure which trade that is. I'm still in my very big drawdown, guys. In fact, guys, this is now my biggest drawdown I have ever seen. Okay, this was not the way I planned the first 6 months of the launch of the website to go. Trust me. In fact, the only reason I started doing signals as well as the education was purely because it would help people grow their account over time as well. Little did I know that I would see the biggest drawdown that I've ever had. In fact, my maximum backtested drawdown, guys, is 15%, and I've now violated that. Okay, and you know that I do weekly reviews and I monitor the trades as I go along, and you know, I'm okay with the drawdown because I've been earning decent money for quite a few years. Even though I've violated my maximum drawdown, I can see the reasons why, and you guys know all the reasons because of the news. The Euro Aussie, the big head and shoulders, news came out, and even though I wasn't in that trade, it was another trade where you would have been stopped out of it. So very difficult. It kind of makes me wish that I didn't launch the site for 2 or 3 months after, so we didn't see this big drawdown. But that is part of trading. I'm having to deal with it. Unfortunately, everyone else is as well. Of course, there are people that have done very well. I know Jamie. Wow, Jamie O'Sullivan. My God, I think he was up like 700 pips at one point in his trades. He was in £2 trades, and they were just. He was just on the right side. He was trading a trend line. I'm not dead sure how his trading works, but I think he trades trend lines, and boom, he was on the right side of the news, and bang, he I don't think he banked all 700 pips, but he certainly banked a lot. Yeah, the drawdown is part of the trading, unfortunately. I have never seen so many losses either, guys. I don't want to harp on about that this week. It's a fresh week, fresh start. Had a decent break, but it is part of the trading, and I really wish that we weren't in this drawdown. I really wish I'd maybe not launched the website for another 3 months so we didn't see this drawdown. But hey, you're going to see the drawdown within your own trading, and it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be very difficult to handle. The important thing is to be consistent. Here's the thing, I think I'm about 17% down, something like that. Have I earned more than 17% over the years? Yeah, an average of about 5% a month I earn. So even though I'm seeing a big drawdown, the bigger picture is it isn't life changing, even though it's quite a bit of the drawdown. So we handle it and we move on. Does make me think twice though about the signal service because people following me and then they lose money wasn't something I really wanted to happen. Typically my drawdown is quite low, and I have maybe a couple of trades a day, 2 or 3 trades a day, and that tends to stop my drawdown from getting too big because I tend to see a win rate of about 50%, and that obviously has just been wiped out in the last 6 weeks or so. Anyway, New Zealand yen, 3 weeks of sideways movement. Although this candle just here, we did have a confirmed break below, close below, indication that we're going lower, and as you look at my charts there, we're at a minimum of 3-year lows. Let's go to the 240, and yeah, this was the potential pattern. I did say I was a little bit concerned about it because we had this little bit of a kink in it just here, and so I can't remember exactly what I said, but I would have said something along the lines of wait for a confirmed break below, close below, wait for a pullback, and look at what we did, guys. This is the trend line just here, 3, 4, 5, 6. We came up for the 7th touch. Now if I was around last week, I would have been looking for the entry in that 7th touch right here. So we can see targets have not been hit. There is room for this to still come lower, and as we zoom in, can we extend this a little bit? Well, we have just had a lower close candle just there, but let's go and take a look at the 60. Look at that, guys, look at that right here, double top right here, guys. Did we have the RSI confirmation? No, but you guys have seen me trade this enough times now. We've had the confirmed break below, close below here, a pullback into the trend line that has now been tested 7 times. You simply look for the rotation pattern. You didn't have the RSI confirmation, so all you need to do is wait for the confirmed break below, close below, which is this one. This would have been my entry. This would have been my reward. Obviously targets have not been hit. Did anybody get involved in this, guys? Classic double top or retest, as it was in this instance. It was confirmed when we had the break below, close below. You would have risked 38 pips, and even though you're still in this trade, it would have been worth 159. Time and time again, rotation patterns is what we use for the entry, whether it be trend continuation or a channel. That's basically what this triangle is. It's a form of channel, and I've shown you within this webinar and multiple webinars now how the double top or the head and shoulders forms within these areas and how you can use them as the entry. Yep. So did anybody get involved in this? Stuart says 10-year cycle. Yeah, God, I just couldn't have launched the website at a worse time. Although there are other companies that have launched products, and I know one company, I won't say what it was about, or because you'll know who it would be, but one company, they launched a product and it was just sent everybody into a huge drawdown for a year. You never know what's around the corner. That's the thing. Here's the thing, while you're learning trading, it's better to actually experience all these things now so that it gets you prepared for when you start trading yourself, or when you've done your back testing, or it gets you ready for the future so you can handle all the possibilities that the market throws at you. It just simply makes you more prepared. So it's better to do it now than when you're trading later with your full account or full time, you're going to your job, whatever it may be. Stuart says keep going with the signals, we'll jump on it again once the balance builds up again. Yep. Yeah, the site will keep going. I just wish the signals, maybe I'd started it 3 months later, something like that. But again, you never know what's around the corner. Bigger picture here though, guys, on the New Zealand yen. Nobody's typed in to say they got involved with this, but what a real shame. But it's a prime example of what we look for in these types of patterns. Yeah, we were 50-50 about this being a triangle, so we waited for the confirmed breakout. Targets were not hit. We saw a pullback to the trend line, double top. That was your entry. That was your entry, guys. Is there any form of other entry right here? Let's drop to the 15. No, not for me. So this will be simply a case of monitoring this and seeing if it provides another entry. Yep, see if it provides another entry. New Zealand dollar. I know a few people were looking at a Gartley pattern, I think. We'll come to that in just a moment. Last time I looked at this, not too sure what we're looking at here. It could have been a double bottom, and then we looked at an area up here which did not violate structure. I'm not too sure, guys. Can't remember, so let's just delete it and move on. Hey Marcus. No problem. Hope you're doing well, Marcus. Looking forward to catching up with you in the chat. So here on the daily time frame, as you can see, we're at a minimum of 3-year new lows, and the market is coming lower. So looking at the daily candlesticks, it's just ugly, just moving lower. We have had an indecision candle, which was on Monday. The market has gone oversold. Has it occurred at a psychological number? Yes, it has actually, right there. So at the 63,000 area. So we have the RSI confirmation, we have a rejection candle last Friday, and we have the RSI confirmation. So we may see a little bit of a hold. Let me just load some more candles. Let's load 3,000, which will be about 9 years, and look left. Okay, so if I bring this down to the very low of the wick and we look left, we can see we've actually come down. Well, this makes it very difficult. So the closes of the candles are just here, guys. Okay, this is where I would expect price to come to. However, because of this very big wick here, we have technically come down to the lows. Okay, so we could actually see a move higher here as well as a move lower. So because I don't have a clear reading, I wouldn't be interested here on any move lower or higher or getting involved with a trade. We haven't quite come down to the lows, even though technically we have because of that big wick. So let's take a look at the 240 though. Not a great deal here in the 240. Oh, just such horrible movement, Marcus, all the way through this. It's not really worth watching the replay of the webinar, to be honest, because this is the third week of we're just seeing sideways movement. We're seeing consolidation. We're not seeing any trend trades. We're not seeing any counter trend trades. There's no breakout patterns. There's no advanced patterns. There's absolutely nothing, to be honest with you, that I'm particularly paying attention to. Here on the 60 of the New Zealand dollar, again, it's just junk. Nothing here that I'm interested in whatsoever. Okay, just let me move this back so it's only loading 1000. We'll take a look at the 15. Okay, a few of you were looking at this Gartley pattern. I saw it in the chat. You've got X to A, A to B. It's quite a deep Gartley. B to C, CD completion would have been up here. The way I draw them out is from the B point down to the A point. We look for that 127 extension. And it fell a little bit short, but I always front run these patterns anyway, and it looks as though I probably would have been filled this trade, and you're well on your way to targets. So if you're in that, well done. It looks as though you potentially moved to break even though it was only worth about 11 pips. Barely worth it, barely worth it. Let's get rid of that, and the dollar yen. We'll make this last currency pair, guys. It's just nothing to talk about. As I say, tomorrow when we do the webinar, may as well make it in the evening. As I say, it's been a bank holiday today in America. The markets are not moving. So I do remember on the dollar yen, we looked at this potential wedge or triangle pattern just here. And I did say that it wouldn't be valid for me because this was the high, and we didn't have a confirmed break above closable, so it wasn't a trade I could take, and we broke to the downside. And again, I think this was as a result of news. So Marcus says, yeah, terrible slow markets. I don't think I've missed much over the week. Don't think I've missed much at all. So on the daily time frame, we had a move lower. We saw a pullback, and we did actually have a move lower here, guys. So we have made a new low. If we look left, and I put a structure level on at the very low of this wick, then you can see price has now come into the area that I expected it to. So even though we had this move lower here, price has come into the structure zone I would have expected it to. We've reached our destination. I'm no longer looking for shorting opportunities. So let's delete it off and go and take a look at the 240. Nothing but junk, in my opinion. It's just nothing. Nothing, guys. Nothing. Let's go and take a look at the 60. 15. Nothing. When we usually see the market move like this, we usually get advanced patterns. So we usually get bat ciphers, Gartleys. They're the patterns that tend to form within consolidation. And unless I'm not seeing them, guys, there just hasn't been any consolidation patterns either. It's been nothing. So yeah, it doesn't look as though I missed a great deal for the week I was away. So I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the review. Really sorry that there's not, something decent to talk about. I'm not feeling very enthusiastic. I'm not interested in getting involved with any of these trades here. As mentioned, there was a potential 26.18 on the Aussie dollar CAD. I'm really just going to be waiting for the market to do something. This 26.18 was the trend line where you could see a shorting opportunity, but nothing I'm really going to be getting involved with. I'm going to be waiting for some decent moves, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Apart from that, guys, I will see you in the chat tomorrow, and the webinar I'll probably do at the same time, 6 in the evening. Other than that, it's glad to see you all in the webinar. I'll see you within the chat, and we'll see what's available tomorrow.